Chirinos, Rougned Odor, and Drew Robinson with a start at third will round it out.
Now let's take a look at the forward pitch arsenal here for Mike Leake and what he'll be featuring against those Texas Rangers tonight. The fastball 47% of the time. Averages 91 miles an hour. It really is a full repertoire for Mike Leake. The cutter, the slider, the changeup, the curveball. He uses all of those pitches, but between the fastball and the cutter, that is mostly what the Rangers will see tonight. And let's take a look at the defense here for the Seattle Mariners. Ben Gamel, Heredia, and Haniger in the outfield. Kyle Seager, not Corey Seager, Gene Segura, Robinson Cano, and Danny Valencia in the infield. And Mike Zunino, who will be behind the plate tonight with Mike Leake.
All right, we're ready to go. And we've said it once, we'll say it again. These are must-win games. And you're often cautioned against saying things like that, especially in baseball, because it's rare that you find yourself in must-win spots. But time running awfully short for all these teams. And for the Rangers, great opportunity in front of them here is Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday night against the Mariners. Delano DeShields takes ball one.
You're absolutely right. I mean, you don't love saying it. You certainly don't want your players to feel that. But the reality is what it is, and that is that the Rangers are behind right now. They have to win. They were unable to take care of business when they went head-to-head against the Los Angeles Angels. It's been a little bit of a rough stretch for them here as of late. And so, like I said, it is what it is. You got to win games now.
56 degrees here at game time. So coolish, certainly. You see a lot of folks bundled up, including Emily. Emily was bundled up nicely down there on the field, and it is a cool one. There's a swinging single into center field, so DeShields is on, and now we'll see if the Rangers can use his speed.
Well, this is what Delano DeShields does so well when he's going good. That's hitting the ball on the ground, hitting it hard up the middle, using that great speed, and that is an ideal first at-bat to lead off this game for Delano DeShields.
I'll bring up Shin-Soo Choo. You might have taken note when we were looking at the lineups that Choo has had very good numbers against Mike Leake. See his overall numbers: 19 home runs, 72 RBIs, but he has handled Leake well over the years in their 14 at bats against one another. Choo hitting .429 with a couple of homers against him.
First thought is that it's probably that cutter that Mike Leake likes to use so much. A lot of times for the righties, that can be a very effective pitch against left-handed hitters.
Well, it's an interesting rematch between Leake and Martin Perez. These two got together less than a week ago. Squared off last Wednesday at Globe Life Park as Leake continues to show some concern with Delano DeShields. Now Leake delivers, and he finds a corner. It's 1-1.
Fastball had a little bit of run from Mike Leake, but looking at the cutter and talking about maybe why Choo has struggled against him a little bit. Left-handed hitters are hitting just .208 against the Mike Leake cutter this year.
Choo had a home run Friday in Anaheim. He was 2 for 11 in the series, but that home run on Friday ended a 12-game homerless stretch for Choo. And he certainly does have power in that bat. He's got a man at first base in front of him as we are just underway. Leake's pitch. And he finds another corner. It's 2-2. Certainly one thing you could say about this Rangers lineup on a day today where so much focus paid all around Major League Baseball to the home run. Well, this is a team that hits them as well as any. And they're not bunched with just one or two guys up and down this lineup. The Rangers heavily loaded with guys in double digits, 15, 20 home runs. Choo right there in that mix with 19 of them.
If you look back at this season for the Rangers, that is definitely an area in which they can hang their hat on. For the hitting coaches here, Anthony Iapoce, just to make sure they are thrilled with what their Ranger hitters have shown in the power.
Full count now on Chu. Chu, a very good bat handler and one of the premier guys in baseball in terms of real quality deep at bats that he'll put on opposing pitchers. Uses the field well and shoots this one out into left field. Coming on for it, Ben Gamble goes into a dive and makes the catch. DeShields got way off first, and he is doubled off. Well, it's a great catch by Gamble, and there was a gamble by Delano DeShields that he would not get it.
And also, I think Delano DeShields wasn't exactly sure whether or not if Ben Gamble caught this ball. First of all, he does a nice job of getting there in the layout as he squeezes it and makes the catch, and he almost looks surprised. Watch Delano DeShields here, right? He's taking off, he's looking, and he sees the play right in front of him. Now, at this point, if Delano turns and sprints back, he's going to be safe, but there was some hesitation around second base, and he may just have been unsure whether or not that ball was caught. Watch him here. You see that? Now, you know what the mistake he made was? He went past second base and didn't touch it on the way back, and he knew that he had made that mistake. And once you pass the base, you do have to touch it on the way back, and he actually came back toward first base without touching second base.
So a huge double play, and now Elvis Andrus bats with the bases empty.
So that's a tough spot for Delano, right? You could sit there and you could keep going, hoping nobody saw it. That's kind of the spot he was in. But then he realized, you know what? Everybody sees everything nowadays. I better go back and touch first base. Or excuse me, second base.
1-2 the count after the foul ball by Andrus. Mike Leake breaks a bat and a little bouncer to third base, handled by Seager. The high throw, and Valencia able to get the tag down in time. Andrus out, and the inning is over. And so the Rangers go quietly in their half of the first. Martin Perez ready to get to work. Ready to go tonight. Let's take a look at the lineup you'll see from the Seattle Mariners. Seattle 2 games under 500 at 74 and 76. Segura, Haniger, and Robinson Cano up at the top. Haniger's been a tough out. Nelson Cruz, Kyle Seager, Danny Valencia with the pop in the middle. Mike Zunino's had a real big second half. Guillermo Heredia, the everyday center fielder these days, and Ben Gamble, the rookie in left field, against Perez.
Now let's take a look at the forward pitch arsenal for Martin Perez. It'll be the 4 and the 2-seam fastball used 58% of the time. The changeup is a very important pitch for Martin, as is that curveball and the slider as well.
So Gene Segura takes ball 1. Segura 297 average, 11 home runs. That'll leave it up at 1-1. Got a nice job getting on base at about a 350 clip, just a smidge below.
nice job here for the Seattle Mariners, kind of answering one of their questions that they had at the top of the lineup. Everybody knew the middle was going to be good.
Off the handle, rolled slowly up the middle. Andrews has to hustle it, and it is just in time. They get Segura one away.
Well, this was a really nice play here. Great pitch by Martin Perez as he got in on the hands of Gene Segura, and you're going to see Elvis Andrus come across his left in the middle infield, looking smooth as he always does. But a good first at bat for Martin Perez.
So now he'll look at Mitch Haniger. Haniger, one of 6 right-handed hitters in the lineup tonight for Seattle. And he takes a strike. This is the first game back, the opening game of a final homestand for the Mariners. Last road trip, Haniger was pretty productive. 10 for 31, had a couple of homers, 3 doubles. And we saw a lot of it in that series back at Globe Life Park. He was very good. And shoots this one the other way, foul. And out of play, it's 1-1.
See what he's done against the Rangers this year. About being very good. 357 average, couple of home runs. So it will be important to mention the 6 righties that are in the lineup for Martin Perez. Righties are hitting .316 against him this year with 19 home runs.
2-2.
We talk about Martin and trying to neutralize those righties. We so often talk about the changeup and the consistency of it. When it is on, and this is neutralizing pitch to those right-handed hitters.
Line drive out to right field. That's a base hit for Haniger. And so the Mariners have their first base runner tonight. And Haniger continues what has been a dominant season against Rangers pitching.
Let's take a look at the Rangers defense. That'll be delivered to you by New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau. Nomar Mazar, Delano DeShields, Shin-Soo Choo in that outfield. Drew Robinson is at third base, of course, with Adrian Beltre DHing. It's Elvis Andrus, Rugno Odor up the middle. Joey Gallo back at first, and Robinson Chirinos behind the plate with Martin Perez. There's Drew Robinson. Getting a little bit more playing time now, of course. We were all pretty shocked that Adrian Beltre has even made it back into the lineup, but with that hamstring, no chance that he is going to play defense. And so Robinson and Will Middlebrooks have been getting some opportunities at third.
Yeah, well, initially it was Gallo who was getting the opportunities at third base, and Jeff Bannister said, no, I want to keep him there. Now Beltre's out. We'll continue to let him work at third base, but a couple of days later, so it seemed, after Beltre left the lineup, the Rangers continued to suffer injury losses, and not the least of which was Mike Napoli, now limited to a pinch hitter's type role off the bench with a stress reaction. So that has moved Gallo over to first and opened up additional opportunity, as you point out, at third base. Here is Cano. And he hooks one on the ground first base. Gallo with a nice play to second for 1, but nobody home for the relay. They'll take the force out of Haniger. There are 2 away.
We'll take a look at this play here, and a nice job by Joey Gallo at first base. As the ball takes him to his right, you always make that throw to second base. Not enough time to try to turn the double play, and a smart decision there by Elvis Andrus not to force the issue. But I like this. I personally like Joey Gallo playing more first base right now than third base. We know that he can do both, and you never know what the future holds and exactly what's going to happen this offseason with the Rangers. But if you were to guess, there's a pretty good chance that Joey Gallo will be taking on, at least it seems right now, a lot of first base next year. So why not have him get more reps at that position right now? Of course, he didn't really play first base until this year, and he's been very versatile in playing third base and left field and everything else. I personally like the idea of him getting more reps at first base right now.
Well, I think it'll be a very interesting point of conversation in the offseason, because do you put him down or do you use him in the outfield? He was very good in left field, and you get, I do feel like you get to use that extra tool that he brings. You exploit that arm a little bit more when he's in the outfield too. So he's got so much value, it seems like right now, wherever they put him. It's a good problem to have. 1-1 to Cruz. We'll take strike 2. Nelson Cruz, 33 home runs, 110 RBIs. What a big year once again it has been for Nelson Cruz. His RBI total most in the American League, 5th in all of baseball, and he strikes out swinging here. So he is the final out of the first inning. No runs, a hit, and the Mariners leave a man, and we have played a scoreless inning tonight. Today, CJ, a moment that will probably not be forgotten for another, I don't know, couple of days. Alex Gordon with a bomb to right field. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Stop the game. History has been made. That right there set the new all-time record for home runs in a season for Major League Baseball, all teams combined. Adrian Beltre starts things off here in the second inning.
The question becomes, how many times is that record going to be broken? The state of the game right now, very interesting with how many home runs are being hit. There'll be a few more hit this year. Well, actually tonight there'll be a few more hit, and then even more the rest of the season. So where that number ends up, yeah, it is interesting. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We've talked about this a lot and where we are with this generation right now. So whether or not it gets broken again next year, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
2 balls and a strike on Adrian Beltre, who has 16 home runs this year. Mike Leake has not given up a home run yet as a Mariner. He is 3-0 with Seattle at .241 earned run average. This is just his 4th start in a Seattle uniform. 2 walks, 17 strikeouts for him. He has done a really nice job with the Mariners, and he finds the outside corner. It's a full count on Beltre.
And Beltre didn't like that one, and you see him laughing about it. Not too seem fastball had a little bit of run. It might have came back and caught a little bit of the plate. At least that Tim Timmons, no, excuse me, James Hoy behind the plate tonight thought so. Adrian did not.
Came back and got a piece of Beltre though. It stays 3-2. Well, still able to smile about it. And so too is James Hoy. You can see a little smile underneath that face mask. I would imagine as an umpire, and you know, we talk about this a little bit now and again. It must be a pleasure to have Adrian up there. Ground ball up the middle, and that one is through, a base hit for Adrian Beltre.
Adrian probably happy now that that pitch was called to strike the 3-1 because instead of a walk, he ends up with a base hit, and there's a little cutter over the middle of the plate. See Adrian hitting that hard ground ball up the middle. It is really amazing to watch what he is doing. We've talked about it a bunch. You see You saw him going down the line. Adrian is not feeling great. That hamstring is still bothering him, but he feels like the Rangers need him. They certainly do. And he's playing through some significant pain.
Or Danny Valencia getting a full dose of Adrian Beltre tonight.
Well, this is interesting, right? This is where the injury comes into play. The Seattle Mariners are very well aware of the fact that Adrian Beltre's got a bad hamstring. And so that means they can play their first baseman back, which really gives them a little bit of an advantage with Joey Gallo up. Of course, a left-handed hitter. It's great pull power. Oh, excuse me, Nomar Mazara.
Who rips this one down to the right field corner, and that one is in for a fair ball. Beltre struggling to third base, but he gets there. The throw goes into second base, but that's a double for Mazara. And the Rangers have him second and third, nobody out. 30th double of the year for Mazara. Another big year for him.
And a very good season for Nomar Mazara. Does a really nice job in this at bat against Mike Leake, who has got pretty even splits when you think about lefty righty, but he leaves that pitch up to Nomar, and Mike Leake is lucky that he did not allow his first home run as a Mariner. Just a little bit of topspin kept this ball in the ballpark, but a good swing by Nomar Mazara.
Now the inning sets up really well with Gallo stepping in here. And a breaking ball in there for strike one. Gallo with 38 home runs and 75 RBIs. Well, there you see the numbers for him. And an excellent breakthrough year for Joey Gallo. He hit a ball on Sunday down in Anaheim that may have just recently landed. It was, of all the many moments that he has provided us this year, I don't know that that might not have been the most impressive. The other one that landed on the opposite side of the club in center field back home. That was pretty good.
Yep, the Hyundai Club homer that he hit was a good one. Now, what's cool about that one, at least, that he hit something that we'd never seen anybody else hit, right? Which, of course, was the top of that building. Now, in Anaheim, that ball he hit, it definitely went further than anything we have seen, and even the Angels broadcaster said the same thing.
Ground ball right side of the infield. No play to be had on Beltre, who's able to score from third. So Gallo grounds out. You can see Beltre clearly and continuing to favor that leg and get some nice high fives from his teammates.
Well, Gene Segura actually thought about maybe throwing this ball home, which would have been a mistake. Could have made a mess of things. That pitch down. Joey Gallo gets on top of it. You can see the ground ball that he hit. But look at Gene Segura even thinking potentially, based on where he is playing, of throwing that ball home, strictly because he knows that Adrian Beltre is having a difficult time running. But that one, like I said, that would have been a mistake.
So now with one out, a man at third base. And Robinson Chirinos trying to start a new streak tonight. Saw his streak of 29 consecutive games reaching base end on Sunday, and a bouncer up the middle. Backhand stop Cano. He'll throw to first, and there are two away. Not much Mazara could have done about that, so he has to stay put at third.
Yeah, based on where the infield was playing, which was in, this was one of those situations where Nomar Mazara was not going to go on contact. They wanted him to see the ball through the infield, so he stayed put. And he was unable to score in that ground ball. Look where Robinson Cano is, and it's kind of that halfway in. He's not all the way in on the grass, but certainly in far enough to potentially cut off the run.
Now Leake in his first pitch, breaking ball in there for a strike to Rougned Odor. 29 home runs this year. You see the on-base percentage at .251. He hits this ball sharply to first, but Valencia right there. The inning is done. Rangers get the first run of the game, though. Beltre scoring on a ground out, and we've played 1.5. Out the first one of this game. We head to the bottom of the segment. We mentioned the new record had been set tonight for all-time home runs. Now in 1999, the initial, well, the most recent record, 2016, got the 56-10. 56-93, the record tonight that was broken, originally set in 2000. And counting. Most home runs ever hit in a major league season. Now, the number this year is going to be in excess of 2,000 more home runs than we saw just as recently as 3 years ago.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. That is wild. You know, a lot of people want to come up with a reason why.
Why?
Talk about this a lot.
What is the reason?
It's, you know, it's still a little bit, I don't want to say it's a mystery. I mean, you can sit there and talk about how guys swing harder. We can talk about velocities. You're going to get some change in the baseball conspiracy theories. It's part of it. I mean, that's just a hard one for me to buy into. But at the same time, there's got to be something. It's not just that guys are stronger or taking, you know, supplements or whatever it may be, or they're seeing higher velocities, because strikeouts are up too. So yes, there's a different approach at the plate. But I mean, 2,000 more than 3 years ago. That's pretty absurd.
Two. A high pop-up, left side, foul ground. There is room over there, but with the shift, too long a run for Robinson. Oh, part of that, of course, is that several years ago we had a really, really down year, because you could see from the graphic we ran just a moment ago, there have been plenty of years of well in excess of 5,000 home runs. It just so happens, what I think it was 2014. And maybe that's the better question. Why were the home run totals so low in 2014?
It was a low rate, just 0.86 home runs per game. And this year we're seeing 1.26 home runs per game, which will be the highest rate ever. Yeah, it's a good question, you know, and like I said, anybody who likes to talk about the conspiracy theory of the baseball, I mean, they could probably make their case that has something happened over the last couple of years. And you were mentioning, you know, how low the home run rate was that year in 2014. That was the lowest since 1992. So quite the dip. I mean, listen, it feeds into the conspiracy theory without a doubt. Say, well, is there something going on? And baseball wants more home runs and more action. And I don't believe any of it, but it certainly is kind of interesting.
2-2. Seager fouls that one off. Kyle Seager leading things off here in the second inning. Martin Perez worked around a base hit in the first. 1-0 Rangers.
This is a guy that Martin Perez definitely has to contain. We know, of course, what he's done against the Rangers, but just even against lefties in general.
Swing and a miss. He strikes out Seager. Second strikeout tonight for Perez.
Great execution here. The breaking ball for Martin Perez, but leading up to it, all those hard fastballs that were inside that we saw Kyle Seager fouling off. You come back with the bigger breaking ball and perfectly located. So it's a change of speeds. It's the break. It's the left on left, and that's where it's got to be, down and away. Nice job there by Martin Perez.
Now Danny Valencia. Our power stats tonight brought to you by Kubota. How about this? Since August 1st, only Corey Kluber with more victories than Martin Perez. Those wins right there, those were all in consecutive starts. Martin had that stretch. He won 7 straight starts at a 3.15 ERA. The stretch that was ended last Wednesday against this very same Mariners team. He didn't pitch poorly in that game either. Gave up 3 runs on 7 hits.
It's been a nice turnaround for Martin Perez. At one point, what, 5-10 on the season, and so to see him get it back, and the wins are still nice to have. They don't tell the whole story, but they're certainly an important part of the story. Martin Perez has done his job. He's put his team in a really good position to win. He's been very efficient in what he's doing. So this second half for him, but especially since August 1st, as we showed there, has been really important for Martin Perez.
Now 3-1 to Valencia, and this one fouled over to the right side, out of play.
First priority is always winning as a pitcher, and you want to have that solid season. Everybody does, right? Wire to wire from the beginning to the end. But you never want it to be this way. But if you had your choice, start weak, finish strong, or start strong and finish weak. I say weak, just maybe struggling. You'll always take the strong finish. So I think that's a really good sign from our team.
He just misses on that payoff pitch to Valencia. First walk offered tonight by Perez. And now Martin will be looking for that double play grounder, as he will look at Mike Zunino. Zunino with 8 double play ground balls this year. He has turned things around dramatically in the second half. Zunino, 23 homers and 59 RBIs on the year.
This is one of Martin's strengths, right? When he gets into this spot, and we've talked about it a lot this year. It's not that he has an exceptional ground ball rate, 48% this year, which is slightly above league average, but he just seems he has a knack for making the pitch to get the ground ball when he needs it. Now the Rangers up the middle with Ruben Odor and Elvis Andrus have done an excellent job turning those double plays, but it's kind of fascinating to see how many double plays he has gotten turned this year, the 29, without being a guy that has that really high ground ball rate. Good, very good, respectable, but not the crazy high ground ball rate. Some guys just know when to get it done, when to make that pitch, how to get that ground ball when they need it, much like we talk about hitters that are really good in the clutch, talk about runners in scoring position, all of those things. Well, that exists for pitchers as well.
Ooh, strike 3 call, and he punches out Zunino. 3 strikeouts for Martin Perez.
So you and I were just talking about Martin Perez and the difference between the beginning of the season and really what has happened lately. Well, check this out over his last 8. Some really important stats and where he has improved. Chase rate, right? That's getting guys to swing at pitches out of the strike zone. The ground ball rate has been up, but the hard contact has been way down. That's very important, keeping the baseball off the barrel. And his walks per 9 over these last 8 starts, 2.1 per 9 innings. That is an elite level rate for Martin Perez. He had a respectable rate prior to that, but he has really turned it up a notch.
Well, now Heredia lifts the first pitch high in the air out to center field, and that will result in the final out of the inning. Couple of strikeouts in the inning for Martin Perez, and he's pitched 2 scoreless tonight. Tonight here in Seattle. Enjoyed the city yesterday on the day off, and looky here. John Daniels, Michael Young here with the ball club today. A lot of player meetings and whatnot.
Staring at your phone, not just for millennials. John Daniels, MY in there, getting it done as well. Now, we always assume, of course, with general managers.
It's work. Doing
business, of course. What do we got on MY, though? What was he doing there, you think? Is he texting you?
No, he wasn't. Robinson shoots this one down the left field line, foul and out of play. Count 0-2 on Drew Robinson. Yeah, probably going back and forth with like Ken Rosenthal or something, right? That's how Kenny's always doing it.
Always on the phone, burning batteries.
Leak winds it up, and Robinson just missed. Stays 0-2. So Drew Robinson, another start today. 4 homers, 10 RBIs. How about this? This is his 37th game this year. Now, not his 37th start, but 37th big league game this year. And he watches strike 3, and that's the first strikeout tonight for Mike Leake.
Yeah, and the strikeouts are not really a big part of Mike Leake's game, but this is certainly one way that he can get them. And I mentioned, the use of the fastball and the late movement that he has. Well, watch this front door two-seam fastball that he throws to Drew Robinson. See that ball come back. Really good movement. Watch it here. You see it. That late movement, almost Greg Maddux-esque.
Gets right in there against the Shields with strike 1. Delano singled in the first inning. Took one right back up the middle. Then was doubled off later on a sinking liner off the bat of Shin-Soo Choo that was caught in left field. And Delano was just way too far off, and then a little trouble tagging on second base and heading back to first. Oh, 1-2 the count now to the Shields. Delano was 0 for 2 on Sunday, but walked a couple of times. Scored both times he had walked. Our game in Anaheim, and the 1-2 pitch. One away. Leake keeps a pretty good pace, and usually doesn't need a whole lot of time to contemplate what to throw or where to throw it. He gets the signs from Zunino, and he just goes.
This is one of the poster boys for Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, as far as what he would like to see most pitchers do.
Lazy fly ball center field. Heredia puts it away. There are 2 gone. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with John Radigan. Yeah, thanks, John.
Not only was that a good game, Jackie Bradley Jr. made a really nice catch of the game. I don't know if you saw that. I happened to catch it. I didn't. He did, but I happened to see it.
Yes.
But he robbed a home run, and one that he did not have time to slow down and find the wall. He made a really nice play, and ended up being a really tight game. Boston Red Sox doing everything they can to try to hold off the New York Yankees, who are trying to make a charge.
Yeah, that continues to be sort of a subtle storyline in these final 2 weeks. Ground ball up the middle. Right there for Segura, and that ends a 1-2-3. Top of the third. Mike Leake settling in. We've played 2.5. Rangers with a 1-0 lead. And by the way, September 26th, your next chance to take advantage of Fox Sports Southwest $10 Tuesday. Tickets for the Astros Rangers game, just $10. Fans can add on a $10 meal deal when purchasing online as well. Just go to texasrangers.com/specials and secure your $10 Tuesday tickets for September 26th using the coupon code FSSW10. Rangers fans on hand, enjoying the cooler weather out here in the Pacific Northwest. And Ben Gamble will turn away from ball one here in the third inning.
It's a fun trip, I think, for Ranger fans to make every once in a while. Get out of that humidity coming up to Seattle. Probably a good little trip from Dallas. A couple of fans that we've heard from that are up here for the 3-game series. Why not? This has always been one of my favorites to visit as a player and now even as a broadcaster.
Fouled away by Gamble. The count 1-2. Ben Gamble with 10 homers and 54 RBIs this year. And he'll strike out a little bit. Gamble, one of a number of players in tonight's game with better than 100 strikeouts, 114 for him. Make it 115 as he punches out to start the third. All right, this is a good time for the Unlimited Baseball Break, brought to you by T-Mobile. J.D. Martinez, now the 5th player in big league history with a 40-homer season in a year in which he was traded. It doesn't happen a whole lot. And then Aaron Altair hit the first grand slam allowed.
Ever off Clayton Kershaw. Not only did he hit one off of Kershaw, they lost that game. The Dodgers did 4-3. That was it. That was all the offense. So for Clayton Kershaw, for the first time in his incredible career, the bases loaded, he had to watch all 4 runs scored.
104 opportunities big league hitters have had against him, but not until Aaron Altair did it.
The 104 sounds low to me anyway.
Does it? Yeah. Well,
right? The fact that he's only had, again, over the course of his career, the bases loaded at bats, official at bats. I mean, I'm sure he's got a couple of walks in there, I would assume. It is Clayton Kershaw. I guess you never know.
Might be one of those stats where, you know, you beat him. You amassed more in the statistical category than he did.
It's probably a good chance of that, actually.
Segura reaches out and rolls one to shortstop.
Got him.
Andrews is there, and there are 2 away.
But that just seems like not that many at bats for a guy who's been in the big league since, what, 2008? Became a full-time starter. I guess you could say the next year in 09, but still, it's 288 starts.
Yeah.
He's only the bases loaded 104 times. It's crazy.
What I want to know is how many times did Jim Palmer face somebody with the bases loaded?
I will work on that for you. I got too into the Kershaw one first because I was so enamored of what he had. I'll get it all for you.
And we bring it up because Palmer in his long career never allowed a grand slam. Now, that is crazy. I don't even know that matters what the number is. The fact that it never happened.
That's a good point. 6 walks with the bases loaded for Clayton Kershaw.
Oh. Two balls, no strikes to Mitch Haniger, who had a base hit earlier and hits this one off the end of the bat. A little cue shot picked up by Odor, hustles it over to first, and it's a 1-2-3 for Martin Perez. 3 innings in the books. When we come back, Elvis Andrus starts things off, then Adrian Beltre and Nomar Mazara. As we head into the fourth inning, and a reminder, you do not want to miss the last postgame fireworks show of the season. It's coming up Friday, September 29th. A's and Rangers in that final homestand, and you stay after the game for a fireworks show set to the players' walk-up music. And now fans can get a 20% discount on Upper Reserve tickets for this Friday home game. Head to TexasRangers.com/specials to purchase your tickets for fireworks Friday. 1-0, Rangers on top. In the heart of the order doing this fourth inning, Elvis Andrus, Adrian Beltre, Nomar Mazara. First pitch, and Mike Leake gets him to line out to third base. Seager right there. That's no fun.
You can see the frustration there on the face of Elvis Andrus. Remember, he broke his bat, of course, in his first at-bat, so he lost the bat. Now he hits the ball hard and has nothing to show for it.
So one gone just like that. And now here is Adrian Beltre, who singled in the second. Had to run from first to third on Mazara's double, and then had to dart in from third base on a ground out to score the game's only run. This is a guy with one healthy leg. I say one healthy leg. I don't know how healthy that one is. Ground ball, shortstop. Gene Segura retires Beltre, and there are two gone. All right, and with Nomar Mazara heading to the plate, let's check in with Emily Jones.
Yeah, guys, Nomar Mazara, and talking to him today about the potential of reaching 100 RBI. He is 6 shy of that right now. He said it is significant to him. He said he feels like this season he's been able to adjust quicker. So the State Farm winning combination for one Nomar Mazara is being healthy and then putting up those consistent numbers. He did say the quad has been an issue for him in these last couple of games, but it's getting better over time.
All right, thanks, Emily. And yeah, I would think that would be a big number. How's the heater down there, Emily? Are they taking care of you?
There is no heater where I am, Dave. Thank you for asking. There's a heater in the dugout. I'm sure it's quite warm. There is no heater where I am. How's it where you guys are?
Well, there's one available to one of the broadcast team, and
I
don't have it either.
What are you talking? Yeah. You don't have a heater over there?
No, there's just one, and you have it.
Oh. And was there any consideration at all in giving it to me?
Well, it's actually attached to the wall. It's a permanent, like old school, like when you're in grade school kind of heater.
Okay.
For those of us that grew up in cold weather cities.
I had to unlace my shoes. It's getting hot down there.
Oh, jeez. I did have to go buy a coat yesterday. I've been to Seattle like 842 times, and I have yet to pack properly for this place.
But to be fair, a little bit of a head fake. Apparently, it was hot and dry here until Sunday, and then Sunday, rain rolled in. It got cold, and it's continued to rain. And from what I understand, will continue to do so until we leave town. At which point, it will warm up again and get very nice here, at least according to the forecast. So we just kind of hit it at the wrong time. Not that makes it any warmer down on the field, or apparently to my right. You really don't have any heat over there?
No, I don't feel anything. I'm all right. Not an issue.
Leake winds it up, and the 3-2 pitch to Mazara on the ground, and right there for Robinson Cano, and the inning is done. It's another 1-2-3 for Leake. He's retired 9 straight, and we head to the bottom of the fourth. 1-0 Rangers. 3-game series. That's a 1-0 start. The left-handed hitting Robinson Cano coming up for the Mariners against Martin Perez, who is really one of the things he's done well, CJ, is turn things around against left-handed hitters this year.
He definitely has. Now, the batting average against at the beginning of the season was probably a little bit higher than it should have been based on some bad luck. He only has given up 2 home runs to lefties this year. But look at the difference in his last 8 as that batting average has come down, and just 147 over that time. The OPS is way down at 430. And so, as Martin Perez has talked about, the beginning of the streak, right, with that Mets game, ever since then, the mechanical adjustments he has made, the positioning with his hands, everything else that we have talked about, it's really paid off. It's one thing, you hear it, right? You've been around this game long enough. How many guys will say, oh, you know, I'm changing this, I'm changing that. Well,
right.
What has it yielded? What really has been the difference? Well, with Martin Perez, we've just showed you a bunch of different things that have gotten significantly better for him. That includes dominating lefties again.
1-2 the count on Cano. Cano reached on a fielder's choice in the first inning. He's 0 for 1. Going outside. Well, Mariners offense tonight pretty quiet so far. 1 hit, 1 walk. Martin Perez with 4 strikeouts, which for him is a pretty high number this far into the game. And Cano shoots it into left field. Lead man on for the Mariners in this 4th inning.
For Martin Perez, an elevated fastball here. Robinson Cano, of course, has been an excellent fastball hitter over the course of his career. You see Robinson Cano reaching back for this pitch. Watch his glove and watch him reach back, and you see Cano with that short swing, quick to the ball, and good left-handed hitters against left-handed pitching. Never trying to do too much, trying to be short to the ball, especially when you're going up against a guy like Martin Perez, who's got the good velocity.
So Cano works his way on, and now Nelson Cruz, who struck out in the first.
We're talking about home runs before a little bit. Kyle Seager, of course, has been good against the Rangers, but especially just against lefties in general. Go back to the beginning of 2012. He has the most home runs for a left-handed hitter against left-handed pitching. Well, the right-handed hitter with the most home runs against left-handed pitching is this man right here, Nelson Cruz. So you got 2 guys in this lineup, and Kyle Seager and Nelson Cruz, who hit back-to-back, who have hit more home runs against left-handed pitching than any other hitter over the last few years.
A little tight. More big numbers for Nelson Cruz this 2017 season. He continues to pile up big home run and RBI numbers. Lifts this one high in the air out to center field. The Shields might have room. Back to the wall, and he makes the catch. So Cruz hits that one a ton, but for a long out, 1 away here in the 4th inning.
He put a good swing on this baseball, but he does unfortunately not get, or I should say fortunately not quite get enough. It's a good pitch for Martin Perez, 93 miles an hour, down and away, just off the plate. As we were talking about Nelson Cruz and the great power that he has shown against lefties, it's because you got to have the ability to hit good pitches. And he almost got that one, but Martin Perez will take the out. Good job by Delano DeShields playing up against the wall.
So that's one important out for Perez in this 4th inning. And now another dangerous hitter, the left-hander Kyle Seager. And he takes strike 1.
Good slider. This will be a fun at bat to watch. Again, because of how good Kyle Seager can be against lefties, at least in regards to power. You see the overall numbers at 252 this year. He's actually hitting 252 against lefties, 253 against righties. But I really liked what we saw from Martin Perez in the first at bat against Seager, running that fastball in for strikes and off the plate. And then eventually he struck him out with a good breaking ball away. Well, he starts him off with the first pitch slider there. Count now even 1-1. We'll see how Martin continues to handle Seager.
They struck him out in the 2nd. just off the plate, 2-1. Seager, though, has had good numbers against Martin Perez.
Just side swing here. Did Kyle Seager hold up? Yes, he did.
Seager 16 for 41 with 4 home runs. It's a .390 average in his career against Martin. 2-1. And a hard grounder down to first. Gallo steps on the bag for 1, and now they've got the rundown. And Gallo will ultimately put the tag on Cano. The inning is done. A 3-6-3 double play, and we head to the 5th inning. 1-0 Rangers.
AT&T high-speed replay. We're going to go back to the Wayback Machine all the way to about 2 minutes ago when Joey Gallo made a nice defensive play and this ground ball stepped on the bag, and then they got in the rundown and finishing off Robinson Cano. But a nice job by Joey Gallo. Not as easy as it looks. You think about, you got a good left-handed hitter up in Kyle Seager, hopping off the bag, so he's already basically playing in. So Joey Gallo showing some good hands, who for me has done a really nice job defensively at first base when he's gotten those opportunities this year.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the year, it's going to look like almost like a super utility season for him. It's sort of crazy. He hits this ball hard on the ground out into the grass in right field, but Cano was out there, and Gallo retired on 1 pitch here in the 5th inning. Mike Leake has now retired 10 straight Rangers hitters.
He's been in a little bit of a groove for sure. Mike Leake, a guy who always will pound the strike zone. This year is 66% strike rate. Here tonight, he's done an excellent job as well. Right around his season average, 67% tonight.
He's an interesting pickup for the Mariners. A salary dump, basically, for the Cardinals. Paying him, what, about $16 million? Wanted to get that off the books. And so they made the deal right at the end of August, like so many teams did in a number of really interesting trades. You look at since the trade and before the trade, the numbers for Mike Leake, he has been outstanding.
It's supposed to go the other way around, right?
Right.
You leave the National League, you go to the American League, especially if you're not an overpowering pitcher, and you might get beat up a little bit. It's been opposite for Mike Leake, who has done a really nice job. This is the first time in his career where he has put on an American League uniform. So far, so good. But ironic, we signed that 5-year, $80 million deal with the St. Louis Cardinals a couple of years ago to start the 2016 season. And the Cardinals did that because Lance Lynn had Tommy John surgery late, and they were in a bind, and they needed to add another starter. You mentioned the salary dump and the move with Mike Leake. Well, when he was moved from St. Louis to the Seattle Mariners, Lance Lynn was the guy who was very upset that he had left. He didn't like the message at all that was kind of being sent. Kind of interesting how that whole thing worked out.
High pop-up, right side, and Valencia is there, 2 away. Well, don't miss out on the finale of the Silver Boot Series. The Houston Astros coming to town Monday through Wednesday of next week, September 25th through September 27th. It's the final 3-game set of the year in the great in-state rivalry. Get your tickets for the Silver Boot Series, TexasRangers.com, or by calling 972-RANGERS. The Astros have clinched their playoff spot and have won the American League West division. And now, you know, among the things to be sorted out, who wins the wild card, the final wild card in the American League. And then how are the playoffs set up after that? As Odor shoots this one out to center field. That one hit well already. It goes back. It's over his head and bounces over the wall. An automatic double for Rougned Odor.
This ball was smoked by Rougned Odor, who has now hit the ball hard in both of his at-bats against Mike Leake. He lined out to the first baseman Valencia in the first inning, but look at a 90-mile-an-hour fastball that is down with some pretty good movement, pretty well located. This is an encouraging sign, and I got to believe that this is something that the Rangers would like to see a little bit more of from Rougned Odor. Not the double, of course, everyone wants to see those and the hard contact, but the approach there and keeping the ball in the middle of the field on a pitch that was moving away from him. We know he's got great power, he's got great pull power. That was a good sign right there for Rougned Odor. It's a quality at bat.
Keeps the inning going for Drew Robinson. Robinson struck out looking in the third inning. And Drew with some good power in that bat. That ball sharply fouled, and I think he broke it. He's going to have to go get a new bat. Well, that double also put an end to a really good stretch there for Mike Leake, where he was starting to get a little too comfy. Retired 11 straight. Based on the numbers that we had seen, you could see where he's a guy, when he gets into a groove, look out. He's been a workhorse, Leake, not a big guy, but this is his 30th start of the year, combining his time in St. Louis with the time here in now Seattle. And he is just one of a handful of guys to go each of the last 6 years with at least 30 starts. 1-2 now, the count to Robinson.
You see a couple of guys that will have those streaks snapped. Cole Hamels will be one of them. Last year it happened to Felix Hernandez. He was a workhorse ever since he broke into the big leagues, but missing some time last year. He had a nice streak going of 30+ starts, 190+ innings.
2-2 the count. Leake too. I mean, he's 5'11", 170. You throw words around like durable, strong, etc. Well, he's not a big guy, but he weathers the pitches really well. 2-2. Foul back. Tell you what, from the stand, we saw a shot of John Daniels a little bit ago on hand here today, watching from the seats. There you go. The standpoint of a general manager these days, I mean, let's face it, any day, trying to figure out who's going to be durable versus who should break down, those types of things. What's going to play at the big league level, what won't. Man, I just think that is always such a daunting, crazy task.
It is, and the problem is there's no scientific way to sit there and say, yep, look at this guy, and this is going to work. You can look at body type, you can look at mechanics. I always use the example of Matt Harvey. When Matt Harvey exploded on the scene in the big leagues, I'm watching him going, yeah, this guy's built for the long haul. Look at that lower half. Look at the mechanics are clean. He's obviously gotten hurt. It's been a disaster since for him. You just never know.
Swing and a miss. A strikeout of Robinson. And just a second strikeout tonight from Mike Leake. We're halfway there tonight. 1-0 Rangers. to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Yeah, there you go. More beautiful scenes from Seattle tonight as we go to the bottom of the fifth inning here at Safeco Field. Well, great to be along with you this evening. Final 3 games between these two this year. And the first pitch this inning to Danny Valencia upstairs for a ball. It'll be Valencia, Zunino, and Heredia in the 5th inning. Martin Perez has faced just 2 over the minimum so far. It was 2-0 on Valencia. Valencia, man, he walked. The only walk he has allowed tonight.
Martin has been really sharp tonight. The breaking stuff, especially the off-speed pitches, the curveball, the changeup, very good so far tonight.
Well, trying to start another streak. Just missed. It's 3-1. Martin had won 7 straight starts before facing these Mariners last Wednesday. A game in which he pitched pretty well, but not well enough to continue that streak. And there's a strike. It's a full count on Valencia.
It's not even close. I mean, that is very much a strike. I caught a ton of the strike zone. You see Valencia there acting a little bit surprised. So tipping his cap a little bit, telling you that he's looking for something out over the plate, because this is a pitch that had a lot of the strike zone at 94.
Count stays full as Valencia fights one off. Valencia will strike out. 120 of those this year. Martin, although that's not a big part of his game, he's had the strikeout going tonight, 4 of them through the first 4 innings. (3-2) and a bouncer shortstop. Andrews, plenty of time to get in position, make the throw, 1 away. And that'll bring up Mike Zunino. Perez 1-2 with a 4.15 ERA against the Mariners this year. This is his 5th start against Seattle. Zunino swings and misses. Well, he got Zunino to strike out in the 2nd inning. That was a strikeout looking. This time Zunino's up there. Hey, the heck with it. I'm swinging. And indeed, swinging right now at just about everything. The 0-2 wouldn't chase that one.
It's been fastball so far here. And you see Mike Zunino, what he's done against the Rangers in his 11 games. He swung the bat very well. It's been a good year for him overall. Not surprising to see Robinson Trinos earlier trying to go with the fastball up, calling for that fastball up. That is a good pitch against Zunino. He has really struggled on the high fastball against lefties.
High pop up out into left field. And Mazzara waiting. 2 away. Heredia coming up. But first, time for a Chevy game break. Once again, we send it back to John Radigan. Yeah, thanks, John. Yeah, the Rays, interesting. When we saw them, gosh, what would that have been? In early August, maybe? I'm starting to think they might be a team to contend with in the wild card. There were certain things about that team. Maybe it was late July. Goodness, it was. It's this one pulled foul to count 0-2. They didn't make many big moves, and And they just kind of stalled. But it looked like they might have had the makings this year in Tampa Bay of getting back in that postseason conversation. I don't think it's going to happen now.
No, I think they're probably running out of time. That's some pitching there. I think was part of it when you looked at the Tampa Bay Rays. Some good starting pitching. Chris Archer, the guy was continuing to rack up strikeouts. You look at a guy with ace type of stuff, and they're going to get rally behind that. Is there enough there? I think there was not this year. The bullpen maybe a little bit of an issue for them.
There's your look at the wild card standings at the moment. At Tampa Bay, 5.5 out. I mean, you're getting down to about 10 games, maybe 12 left for most of these teams. Kind of tough to work the math. Forget the baseball issues, right? I mean, Randy Adamak, the great and long-time PR man here in Seattle, came to the booth today. We were chatting this afternoon. He was talking about certain teams and said, yeah, there are the baseball issues, but really there are math issues for some of these teams right now, right? Because you just look at it and trying to figure how many games are left. I mean, things have to fall just about perfectly for some of them. Heredia with a base hit here, 2 away in the 5th inning.
Yeah, it'll make your head spin as far as sitting there and trying to say, okay, well, we're this many games back, but there's other teams involved and they play each other, so it's actually impossible for them to win this many games, and you can go round and round in circles. And there's definitely people that are significantly smarter than you and I that probably could figure that out, but the easier solution is to say just win, and you kind of go from there. That is the only way you're going to get into the postseason when it has been as tight as it has been in the American League wild card. You're not going to lose your way there.
Well, although you look at what's been going on and you wonder maybe that's the strategy. Most of the teams that we're talking about are all like at 500 or below 500 for the month of September. It's been crazy. Like the Twins, they're 8-9 coming into play today in September. The Angels, 7-8. Both those teams a game under 500 in the month of September. And the Mariners are even. The Mariners, they're the class act in this group. They're 8-8.
Just crushing it in September with their 500 record. You know, and some people will say, well, maybe that's why we shouldn't have the wild card. I mean, you got some teams that are just really average, and they're the ones that are kind of in it. So what? Yeah. It's still fun to watch, I think.
Oh, I agree. Now the Rangers, you know, put for that stretch last week where they dropped 7 of 8 games. Now you can go back a little while and you say this team has actually played pretty decent baseball for a while. Like since August 8th, this team 20-17. You know, playing better than 500 ball, but a tough stretch last week has really cost them. A line drive out to right center field, a base hit for Gamble. Heredia's got good speed. He'll round third and score easily. Into second base, Heredia with the RBI double, and he has tied this game at 1.
Now this looked like a slider that stayed up in the zone for Martin Perez to Ben Gamble. Let's take a look at this pitch. You see Robinson Chirinos asking for that ball down and away. The finishing out over the plate, and Gamble's able to put a good swing on it. He drove this ball well into right center field. Nothing Chu could do. You mentioned Heredia, what a good runner he is, and never slowed down, scores easily. That ball was hit deep in the gap. 23rd double of the season there for Ben Gamble.
So a new game, and Gamble represents the potential go-ahead run. Perez will be looking at Gene Segura for the 3rd time tonight, and Segura fouls one back.
Robinson Chirinos takes another foul ball off the mask. We saw this happen to him in Los Angeles against the Angels. Man, that almost had the same exact play. The one that just foul tips, and you see him just stand there. Always makes you worried for those guys. Toughest position on the field.
We mentioned it the other day too. Chirinos with a history of concussions. They have caused him some trouble since becoming a catcher. You know, it's always one of those serious matters when you see him get his bell rung like that. Segura's 0 for 2 today and takes that one way inside. 1-1 the count. Segura both times grounded out to shortstop. Good overall numbers this year for the Mariners shortstop. Hits in 14 of his last 17 games. And his batting average is 10th best in the American League. Lifts this one out to right field. Long run toward the foul line. Chu is there, and he makes the catch right on the line. I think he kept both feet in bounds. That is a completion. We will go to the 6th inning, tied at 1. Brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. Our jackpot tonight, $300 plus dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Marcia Eubank from Garland, Texas, our contestant tonight. Rangers trying to hit a home run for you, Marcia. If they do, you'll win $300. If it's a grand slam, Marcia wins an additional $25,000. All right. CJ, you like to promise these things, talk all the time about how you are the lucky charm. May tonight you actually be telling the truth. There's a pitch to Delano to Shields, fouled away for strike 1.
I want the home run now maybe more than any other evening. I shouldn't say that's probably not true, but I want it to happen tonight. But not because I want any credit for it, just because I want to say Marcia. If it happens. Well, so, let's hope. Wrong guy though, not Delano, but Mike Leake.
Right, Leake's been stingy. That's been a problem. He has not given up one yet as an American League pitcher. Now he did surrender home runs in his time in the National League while with the Cardinals. In fact, gave up 19 in 154 innings. It's not like it's impossible to hit one off Leake. In fact, you could even argue, CJ, that he's due to give one up.
That's definitely the positive way to look at it. The optimist you always are.
Swing and a miss. He does strike out to Shields. 1 out here in the 6th inning. Well, I invite you to take advantage of Ozarka Online Ticket Thursday, September 28th. Rangers in the opening game of their final series against the Oakland A's. Tickets for all Thursday home games are half price in upper reserved upper box and Lexus Club Terrace. Just go to TexasRangers.com/specials and use the coupon code Ozarka to redeem this offer. 1 out, and here is Shin-Soo Choo, and he fouls back, strike 1. It's an adventurous 0 for 2 tonight so far for Choo. Is that line out his first time up. A 1-1 ball game here in the 6th inning. Rematch of a great pitcher's duel that we witnessed on Wednesday back at Globe Life Park.
Hit that line drive to left field. Looked like maybe it had a chance to get down. Ben Gamble made a really nice play, but Delano Shields was running on that play, and so it turned into a 7-3 double play.
2-2, and Chu obviously disagrees.
See that from Chu, the reaction of what Mike Zunino did behind the plate. A little bit of movement there, and he brought that ball up, and I think that's what Chu was trying to argue right there, saying, you know, he brought that ball up, and you could see it.
And he swings over the top of a breaking ball. Back-to-back strikeouts from Mike Leake.
Well, after the call that Chu did not like, and he got this pitch here down and in, like the cutter, and he swung right over the top.
In fact, back-to-back nothing for Leake. He has struck out the last 3 batters going back to last inning. Not a real fun contestant in this Sonic Slam inning. Might not invite him to the next Sonic Slam inning.
No tater tots for you.
Andrews 0 for 2 today. Last time hit a screaming liner down to third, but right to Kyle Seager. It's also grounded out to Seager. He's in a hole here, 0-2. Well, Leake's 0-2 pitch and a slow chopper, third base. Seager gloves and throws, and it's not in time. Andrews beats it out. It looked like it pulled Valencia off the bag anyway. It also looked like Andrews went in awkwardly at first base.
He did. Now he continued pretty far down the right field line after running through first base, which I would look at as an encouraging sign, even though he did grimace a little bit. You see Kyle Seager feeling this ball and trying to make that throw on the run. It was the long lunge there from Elvis Andrews. That's why he ended up hitting the bag just a little bit funny. You're going to watch him here reach that last long stride, and a little bit funky in front of the bag, but looks like he'll be okay. It didn't take long at all for the smile to return on Elvis Andrews' face.
Yeah. Well, hits help, right? Feels a little bit better when you pick up another hit. Also, he just kind of can't help himself. Here's Beltre. Beltre, I don't know how many times we have uttered the line or the description of future Hall of Famer. That much, all but a lock. And if you're wondering why one might say that there are all the numbers. Those certainly tell a pretty good story. But then you look what he is doing right now. Basically as good as anybody in this lineup or in these games with one leg tied behind his back. He's playing on one leg. He shouldn't even be in the games.
Which, ironically enough, is on Talk Like a Pirate Day. Isn't that today?
It is. I think it is.
Pirate Day.
Yeah. Hard. Pigleg sends one through into right field with his second hit of the night. And Andrews gets to third base. Rangers have him cornered here in the 6th.
This really is incredible to watch. I know I said it when Adrian got a hit back in the 2nd inning, but to see him make adjustments to what he does with the bat, knowing he cannot use his lower body the way that he would like to, he takes advantage of a pitch away and a wide open right side of the infield. That's just really smart hitting by Adrian Beltre.
Well, now a little conversation out there. This is a big situation now, a 1-1 ball game. Andrews third, Beltre at first, and Nomar Mazara is up.
Remember, Nomar in the 2nd inning hit that double that made it 2nd and 3rd. Ultimately, Joey Gallo was able to drive in Adrian Beltre to give the Rangers their first run, but he's had a couple of good at-bats here, good swings. Did ground out to short in his 2nd at-bat, but he hit that double hard down the right field line, so I gotta believe conversation surrounding maybe the strategy here. It's no more Mazzara.
So Mazzara, another big spot, did not get an RBI with that double last time, although he set up the Rangers' first run. Sitting on 94 RBIs for the year and hits his ball sharply down the first baseline, but foul. Emily was telling us earlier about Nomar in this pursuit of 100 RBIs, and Jeff Bannister the other day said, hey, look, it's significant. I mean, it's very meaningful for a guy in his spot to get to 100 RBIs. Absolutely. You don't think in terms of individual numbers. It's about winning games right now, but this ball smashed down to first. Valencia will prevent one of those RBIs from coming to fruition here. Rangers lead them on the corners. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning, 1-1. Out of the 6th inning tonight. Important game for both these teams. And tomorrow will be as well our AT&T pitching matchup tomorrow. Andrew Kashner, who has been as consistent and dependable as anybody in this rotation, against Felix Hernandez, coming back off the disabled list. We saw him last week and he looked pretty good, in all honesty. We'll see how he responds to another start back. Kashner did a little fly fishing yesterday.
Looks cold down there.
Looks very cold.
And in full gear, he must not have the Dave Raymond foot heater in the dugout. He's a Texas boy, though, of course. Can always react as well as others in chilly weather.
Who was I talking to yesterday, or maybe it was Sunday as we were coming into town? And it might have been Brett Nicholas asking, he said, you guys have heaters upstairs?
Yeah. He's welcome to sit up here. Now, of course they have great heaters. You see Tony Barnett now up in the Ranger bullpen with that pitch count getting up there a little bit for Martin Perez. He's at 85, 5+.
Crowd's Haniger, and it's 3-1.
So Cash told you went fishing a little bit yesterday?
Well, Cash told me he was going fishing. I didn't talk to him today. He told me, I think on Sunday, that he was planning on going fly fishing. The Cascades. This is incredible fly fishing country here. This is swinging a high drive out to left field. Mazzara goes back and makes the catch in front of the 376 marker. Had him all the way. One out here in the 6th inning.
I remember always believing that this ballpark played fair. I always liked pitching here. I thought it was a fair ballpark. You know, a lot of people say, oh, it's big. I mean, this day and age, we've seen 2 balls now, right, caught right at the track. Maybe they died a little bit. I don't know if the colder weather has anything to do with it necessarily, but this to me is an ideal park. You see 376 in the gap there in left center field. We saw that double that went into the gap right center field. It's 380 to that gap, 401 to dead center. Those are fair dimensions. But somehow, you get people that will say, no, this ballpark's too big. But we just set a record for most home runs in the season tonight. I don't want to hear it.
Well, they moved. You're looking at the 331 down in the left field corner. Really, it's the area where that ball was hit a moment ago where the biggest change was made. They pulled those fences way in left field. I mean, they have come in significantly out there to make this a smaller ballpark. This ball hit well out to right field. 2 coming on, and he'll make the catch. 2 away. All right, we'll bring up Nelson Cruz, our TXU Energy power player to watch tonight. 160 home runs in the last 4 years. That's the most in Major League Baseball. Dovetailing off your talk of record home run pace. Not just this year. They've already set the record in Major League Baseball this year. And it's an ongoing record, but this guy has, he's been right there at the front of this run.
Any idea how many he's been averaging a year?
Well, I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
Right? In that
at least
stretch.
35.
Sure.
It's a good home run hitter. Great power. Really nice home run swing. An excellent backspin on the ball. We hear a lot of hitters talk about that. As much as the conversation has turned to uppercuts and getting the ball in the air, Nelson Cruz is one of those guys that really kind of cuts the ball in half and creates incredible backspin, which gives you great carry on the baseball.
Cuts the baseball in half.
Well, it doesn't literally obviously cut it in half, but the way, it's a term that's used sometimes with certain hitting coaches, the way you go through the baseball, you're catching the bottom half of the ball. Obviously you have to get it in the air. But the way that his swing just kind of goes right through it just generates really good backspin on the baseball. And a lot of times the ball will carry a little bit more than expected just because of how much backspin he can generate on it.
Got under this one and lifts it out into short right field. 2 waits and it completes a 1-2-3-6 inning for Martin Perez. Question now is how much further will they let him go? It's 1-1.
Fourth game summary and take a look at these 2 starting pitchers who have thrown the ball extremely well. Martin Perez with a good fastball there to Nelson Cruz, locating and then going out of the zone when he needs to as well. A good slider against Ben Gamble. And on the other side of things, Mike Leake has been filling up the strike zone. Lots of 2-seam fastballs, lots of cutters from him tonight. Changeup as well. All that mixing and matching from both of these guys has led us to this. They've each gone 6 innings. They each have allowed 1 run. 8 strikeouts and 1 walk between them. Martin Perez has thrown 62% strikes. That's very good. Well, Mike Leake has thrown 70% strikes tonight. That is incredible.
So he works into the 7th. And Joey Gallo 0 for 2, but drove in the Rangers 1 run. It was a ground out in the second. And Joey 76 RBIs for the year now. Swing and miss. It's 1-1.
There's that cutter from Mike Leake. You know, you watch him, kind of pay attention to what he's doing, and you don't see anything that's straight, right? We talked about him not being an overpowering guy. That ball goes right under the hands of Joey Gallo. But in today's game, so many good velocities, right? These guys throw hard. I mean, Martin Perez is one of the harder throwing left-handed starters in the game. But if you're going to be Mike Leake, you're going to have a fastball that averages around 90, 91 miles an hour. You can't throw that pitch straight. And you got to be able to do two things. You got to be able to locate. You got to be able to mix speeds. He's done that tonight. He's done a really nice job here so far through a 6+. You just don't see anything that comes out of the hand of Mike Leake that doesn't have movement on it.
2-2 now to Gallo.
Where are you on the single-digit number for the pitcher?
Unusual.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not a fanatical number guy, so I don't want to take too hard a stand on it. But I feel like those should be reserved for your starters, your big hitters.
Yeah.
Lineup guys. Your quarterbacks, yeah.
I will say this: when you see the single digit, for me, you have to be a good athlete to make it work. I know it sounds ridiculous, not a really good reason behind that, but I feel like the times that we have seen.
Gallo down looking, another strikeout for Leake.
Just looking a little bit up in the zone. Joey Gallo has talked a lot about not wanting to put himself in a position where he is taking strikes. He'd rather maybe chase once in a while. He doesn't want to give up opportunities to drive the ball out of the ballpark. And this fastball was a little bit elevated. We'll take a look here from Mike Leake. Again, I guess it caught the top of the zone. See the frustration there from Joey Gallo, because at 91 miles an hour, he'd like to go hacking at that pitch.
First offering to Chirinos.
Anyway, that's been in the limited exposure that I've seen. You don't see it too often. Generally speaking, the pitcher with a single-digit number just happens to be a good athlete.
High pop-up foul out of play. Please tell me you.
Ha! No. Okay. Try to get triple digits for me.
So like Bartolo Colon, you wouldn't want to see a single digit on Colon?
No. I don't think anybody would want to see that. Doesn't work.
But you think it works on Leake?
I do. Yeah, I don't love it, but it works for me.
Yeah, I wonder if there are certain single-digit numbers that would just be completely out of the question. Like, would 4, if you're watching Leake right now wearing number 4,
it's a weird one.
That would, I don't know why.
Adam Ottavino's got 0, right, with the Rockies. You're not allowed to have 00, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you're correct. And it's interesting that 0, 8, both almost look acceptable. I wonder if, and 4, just even saying 4 gives me the heebie-jeebies. And I'm wondering if there's something to do with like the roundness of the number. But that's just the weirdest thing in the world to think. What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, nothing.
2-2. And it's pulled down to third base. Kyle Seager's done a nice job over there tonight, and they're 2 away here in the 7th inning. Well, keep in mind, there's just one Saturday home game left in the regular season. And we're going to see a lot of the Oakland A's in that final homestand, but they will be there on Saturday night, September 30th, 7:05 game, and you can get your tickets for Saturday, September 30th. Just go online, TexasRangers.com, or give them a call, 972-RANGERS. Interesting, after that ground ball out, Scott Service is taking the baseball from Mike Leake, so he is done. And it's our first foray into the Mariners' pen tonight. We'll bring you the new pitcher in just a moment. 2 outs and nobody on in the 7th inning. Mark Zepchenski has come on here to face Rougned Odor.
We'll take a look at the numbers here for Zepchenski, the longtime lefty. It'll be game number 60 for him. Walks to strikeouts, not exactly where he would like them to be this season, but for Zepchenski, fastball
sounded out.
92-mile-an-hour fastball. He's got the slider and the changeup as well. And it's been an okay year for him against lefties. 243 batting average against. Think about having your dominant kind of go-to lefty. You'd like to see that number in the high 100s if you could. But you know, it's interesting. You're right. Mike Leake only threw 90 pitches, and it looked like he was cruising. I mean, he has been really good. It was really good in this entire game. But Rougned Odor has swung the bat very well against Mike Leake in his first 2 at-bats. He hit the ball hard. He lined out the first baseman Valencia, and then he hit that big double over the head of the center fielder already. And so in a 1-1 game, Scott Servais is looking and saying, oh, yeah, I got a great start here out of Mike Leake. The only thing he probably didn't like were the swings that Rougned Odor was taking against him. And we know Rugy's got the great power. Scott Servais was not liking his chances in a 3rd at-bat.
So lefty on lefty here. Let's see what Odor has done tonight. You see his season numbers. 29 home runs and 70 RBIs. Interesting. I think it underscores just how critical each hitter, each game is to both of these teams.
And that's the other part of that, right? You're still in that part of the season. Even though we look at maybe the Mariners as a long shot at this point, you still manage to win. You absolutely do. And it's also the first game of the series. What you don't want to happen if you're the Mariners is for Rougned Odor to have 3 really good at-bats the opening night. So if you don't like the way you swing in the night, try to do something to disrupt it.
Well, ground ball first base side, and that one completes this 7th inning. Rangers go quietly. So they will stand and stretch tonight. We've got a 1-1 ball game. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. On a Space Needle. Looking out over the top of us tonight down here at Safeco Field. A 1-1 ball game, and we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. It's been a great one so far tonight. Just a bit under 18,000 on hand, and Martin Perez gets one in there for a strike to Kyle Seager.
A good slow breaking ball there from Martin to lead off Kyle Seager. Talk about the way that he has set him up all night. Interesting to see some changeups, the left on left changeup. Not the first time Martin Perez has done that tonight, but I thought this was also kind of interesting. You know, 3rd time through the order now here for Martin Perez and trying to go through the middle of the order. just misses. But, you know, we look at those numbers a lot of times, and the batting average against for Martin Perez in those spots, third time through the order, is high at 326, but his strikeout rate is actually a lot higher third time through than it is first and second time. I was very surprised to see that.
Bouncer out into short right field, and Odor throws out Seager. They have kept him off the bases 0 for 3 so far tonight.
When you think about what Martin's game is, right? It's not high strikeouts, it's weak contact, it's ground balls with runners on base. But to see him be able to turn it up, get more swings and misses, more strikeouts, third time through the order, I think it's a good sign.
Well, Jeff Bannister heading out there, and by the looks of things, one would anticipate, yep, there it is, the signal to the bullpen. So Martin Perez is done. Got the first man he faced in the 7th inning. It's a bullpen game from here, tied at 1. Fantastic job at a 1-1 game. Hey, MLB.TV, every night, every device. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live. Plus, you get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, which is the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Just go to MLB.TV for details. Well, with a pitching change, Tony Barnett coming on. Yonder Alonso is announced as the pinch hitter as well.
Let's take a look at the forward pitch arsenal real quick here for Tony Barnett. The cutter, the fastball, curveball, and split finger all in the arsenal for him. But the majority of what you see, of course, is the fastball and the cutter combined 79% of the time for Tony Barnett. Fastball in particular has looked really good as of late here, especially in the second half for Tony. Really good post All-Star game numbers. 2.86 ERA since the All-Star break. Prior to that, Tony had a 6.58 ERA. So he's really doing well here in his 21 games since the All-Star break.
Working against Yonder Alonso, a left-handed hitter, and he goes 2-0. Alonso had gone 5 for 16 on their last road trip. It's the opening game of their final homestand now. And, you know, a guy who had been swinging it pretty well lately. Stood safely in 15 of his last 20 games. But pinch hitting here, that's a different skill altogether. 10th time this year he's been used as a pinch hitter.
Overall in his career, it hasn't gotten that great for him. 253 batting average as a pinch hitter in his 90 plate appearances.
runs inside. So 1 out, nobody on here in the 7th inning. Both teams have gone to their bullpens at this point. Both starters were terrific tonight. Missed, ball 4, and Alonso is aboard here in the 7th inning. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's send it back once again, John Radigan. Yeah, thanks, John. It's an interesting night around Major League Baseball. As Alonso steps off first base, and Mike Zunino, 0 for 2, stands in. And we were talking earlier about, you know, both these teams, the Mariners, Rangers, their job right now, win their ball game. And that's one thing you can control. You're running short on games left this season. You just want to win your game and try and stay alive. And mathematically, they both are still alive. You start looking at the schedule for the teams remaining in the conversation in this wild card race. Well, Twins have lost today. They've got another one left against the Yankees. They have 3 games at Cleveland on their schedule in these last 2 weeks. Angels, 3 games against Cleveland. They've got 3 at Houston. They're losing to Cleveland right now in the 6th inning. Well, the Mariners and the Angels will face one another at the end of the season, and the Mariners still have 3 games against the red-hot Indians. And even the Royals, they've got to face the Diamondbacks still, and a makeup game against the Yankees. So some tough schedules out there for those other teams still in the race.
Yeah, pretty interesting that a couple of American League West teams have to play the Indians here down the stretch. And you say, well, the Indians have wrapped up their division. Maybe they'll lay back. Not necessarily. No, they're still going to be in that fight for home field advantage, trying to hold off the Houston Astros. So they'll absolutely be coming after those clubs. That'll be a tough battle. Very interesting how that worked out, though. You get the Indians at the end of the season when it really matters.
I mean, to think that the Indians are going to play a role in this wild card because they play the Twins, the Angels, and the Mariners in the final 2 weeks in 3-game sets. It's really kind of amazing timing.
It's wild. And I saw in that Indians game, Jay Bruce going for the natural cycle, a single, double, and triple in his first 3 at-bats. I saw somebody tweeted out a picture. It was Jordan Bastain, one of the beat writers with the Cleveland Indians, and I'm assuming it was Cole Calhoun diving for the ball in right field. He was nowhere close to it. I mean, he was a good 6 or 7 feet from the ball as he was diving. And it turned into a triple for Jay Bruce.
This ball hit well out to the alley and drops down. Chu cuts it off. Alonso goes to third. Zunino rather with a base hit to right field. So now the Mariners have him on the corners with just 1 out.
I mentioned Mike Zunino earlier. He's having a very good offensive year, and Tony Barnett tries to go in. The ball ended up being a little bit more over the middle plate. I mean, he didn't miss his spot by very much. This is a good approach, though, by Mike Zunino. Stays inside the ball, getting himself a base hit to right center field.
Boy, big spot all of a sudden now for Barnett. He has allowed a walk and a base hit. Tie game, bottom of the 7th inning. And here is Heredia. The ball bounces in the dirt but stays close by.
Certainly an ideal time to get that ground ball. Tony Barnett, 44% ground ball rate for him. It's right at league average. He has gotten 7 double plays this year. Heredia is a guy that runs well, so that's a little bit more of a challenge as far as trying to double him up.
Check in on Zunino at first base. See what Heredia has done tonight. A 1-1 game, 7th inning. You asked for 3 things. You pointed out 3 keys today before the ball game. Get to that in a moment. Heredia squares to bunt and a throw down to third. And oh my goodness, they got Alonso. Wow! How huge is that out?
What a great heads-up play by Robinson Chirinos. Not exactly sure what Alonso was doing. This was a safety squeeze, which means you don't go anywhere until the ball is down. But this is an over-aggressive secondary lead, and a good job by Drew Robinson to slide in there and make sure that that tag was applied. That is just really bad base running by Alonso. This wasn't even close, and a great throw there by Robinson Chirinos.
Oh my. What a big out.
That's just really bad base running. If you're going to go safety squeeze, you don't go anywhere until that ball is down.
Looked like Odor was asking for some clarity from Chirinos on either A, the count, or B, what they were to do here defensively on the infield. That one misses. It's 3-0.
Communication always so important. Maybe just making sure they knew who was covering on a potential steal. But the way that the infield is aligned right now, it almost certainly would be Rougned Odor.
Well, 3-0 the count. Zunino, not a great base runner at first. Or I should say maybe not with great speed.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
No, you're right. It certainly doesn't appear like that's the guy you're worried about stealing right now. You certainly would let Heredia hit. So you know, was 1 for 1 stolen base attempts this year.
Back, and it's a full count all of a sudden on Heredia. Oh, good job by Barnett to battle back here. Trying to finish off a scoreless 7th inning and keep this a 1-1 game. I was going to say earlier, you asked for some keys. Slowing down Seager and Nelson Cruz. They're 0 for 6 combined. You also talked about one of the things you brought up was 6th inning on, where the Mariners have been so tough this year on the Rangers. 3-2 pitch, and that's fouled away. And here we are in the 7th inning. It looked like the Mariners were building a little something, but that huge out a moment ago of Alonso is, I think, allowed all of us just to breathe a little easier here.
That was a huge play. There's no getting around it. The difference between having first and third, 1 out, a good runner in Heredia, or even a ground ball would probably score Alonso. Completely changes everything.
Heredia really doing battle here with Tony Barnett. Tony was born in Alaska, but really grew up closer to Seattle here. Federal Way, Washington. There's a swing and a fly ball out toward right field, but it slices up into the seats. Stays 3-2, so a bit of a homecoming of sorts for Barnett. He went back to his childhood home yesterday with the off day. It's funny talking to guys like Tony and Austin Bibbins-Dirks. Austin said, he had a great line today. He said, I don't know what it is. He's like, but maybe I'm the only person in the world who loves the sound of cars driving through puddles. He felt back at home. 3-2.
He might be right. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody talk about that before.
You know, I mean, it's not Oregon. You know, he's closer to Portland, but you know, it feels basically the same here. And he said, yeah, it just I don't know. He's like, it's the temperature, the weather, and then maybe I'm the only guy who likes the sound of cars driving through puddles. All right. 3-2. And this one lined out towards center field. It will drop in front of DeShields. Boy, what an at bat by Heredia. He just battled and finally won.
Yeah, it was a really good at bat, and the swing looks good tonight for Heredia. Second hit of the night for him, but after battling Tony Barnett for 10 pitches, takes a pretty good, what looked like fastball away. Lines it into center field for a base hit, but just a nice, smooth, even swing from Heredia. I know his consistent time, his playing time has been somewhat inconsistent, but we've seen him do some pretty good things this year. Doesn't walk a lot, but it was a quality at bat. 10 pitches.
Well, Zunino and Heredia both aboard here for Seattle. That out again earlier in the inning on Alonso. Now really looming large. But Barnett's got to get somebody out here. He's got to get Ben Gamel. That's the next man on his list. This one down in the dirt for ball one. Gamel's had a good night tonight, and his overall numbers this season not too bad either.
Yeah, this will be interesting because Gamel's been good against the right-handed cutter this year. .385, and of course that is Tony's go-to pitch.
Squibber down the third baseline, just foul. Whoa, that was close.
That certainly was, and it was a good pitch. It wasn't hit well at all, but Drew Robinson is playing off the line. And watch this cutter get in on the hands of Ben Gamel. Look where Drew Robinson is playing. You're not expecting that kind of result on a cutter into a left-handed hitter. A lot of spin on it, but I think I see that thing skip left like that. Wow, that's a great shot with that foul ball.
Runners out first and second, the 1-1. And this one off of Gamel's foot for strike two.
That one stung a little bit. We've talked about this a lot this year as far as how you handle these kind of situations. I'm a big proponent of going right back inside with a similar pitch after you get a guy to foul a ball off his leg like that. The other part of this, though, is that Gamel's worse on the slower breaking balls, so the curveball could be effective as well here.
And the 1-2. He'll scoop this one out to left field. Mazzaro, though, to his right, and he'll get there to haul it in. The inning is over.
And it was the curveball that did Ben Gamel in, so a nice job by Tony Barnett, but not a nice job here by Yonder Alonso, who gets way too far off third base. And Robinson Chirinos nails him in what turned out to be a huge out in the seventh.
Eighth inning. This has been an interesting one here tonight, and we take a look at our progressive upcoming schedule. 2 more here tomorrow night and Thursday night. And then we'll say goodbye to the Mariners for 2017. And then finally the last stop on the road this year in Oakland over the weekend against the A's. And how big is that series going to be? Rangers will then come home to start their final homestand. It begins with the conclusion of the Silver Boot Series. The Houston Astros in town Monday through Wednesday. Well, as we head on out to get things started in this 8th inning, Topchinski went out, took his warm-up tosses, and Scott Service signals to the bullpen right as we're getting set to go. So pitching change coming on, new pitcher in a moment. Here in Seattle, and Rangers fans, we invite you to download the Fox Sports Go app. You can take Rangers baseball with you wherever you go. If you can't catch the games live on TV, you can still stream them live on your mobile device with the Fox Sports Go app presented by AT&T and Hyundai. But beyond that, there are other games you can stream on that thing. So it's kind of a worthwhile endeavor. As Nick Vincent is the new pitcher here for Seattle.
It's been a good year for Nick Vincent, the right-hander. Game number 66 for him. Very good whip, good strikeout. You see the 48 there over his 67 games. Not a hard fastball. It averages right around 90 miles an hour. Throws the cutter, the curveball, and the changeup.
Carlos Gomez announced as the pinch hitter, which allowed for Vincent to be brought in the game. Rangers going to their bench. Drew Robinson done now, and this one lashed out toward right field, heading toward the corner, and that's a fair ball. And Gomez will head to second base. He's in with a stand-up double. So Carlos Gomez off the bench cold and shoots one down the right field line for 2.
Well, not even cold. I mean, he hasn't had an at-bat in 10 days.
Yeah.
The last time we saw Carlos Gomez was on September 9th against the Yankees, and he does an excellent job here in a pinch hit opportunity. Gets himself in scoring position. He seems coming out now for a pinch runner. Look at that's a good pitch too at 82 miles an hour, down and away. Now we know that's the follow through that we see from him. You see him running, doing everything he possibly can, and really surprised here actually as this throw came in. Not that there was going to be a play, but that Gene Segura was not covering the bag, and Robinson Cano just let that ball go through. Carlos Gomez smiling now after the pinch hit double.
Well, so he comes in and he doubles. He leaves the game for Middlebrooks, and now DeShields bunts one foul over the screen. But great to be able to use Carlos Gomez. It's good to have him back and healthy, right, Emily?
Like, the off day did him some good. He noticed some significant improvement. Went in and told Jeff Bannister that today. They were just waiting to let him go through one more round of BP and do some running before they made sure he was ready to go tonight.
That worked out great. got so many guys here are just battling through these injuries and yet still able to put good at bats down. And how about a good bunt laid down? Seager with a bare hand and nowhere near in time. DeShields with a single. Middlebrooks to third, and still nobody out in this 8th inning.
Good execution, great execution actually from Delino DeShields. We know he's got the great speed, and his job here is to get the bunt down and to get Will Middlebrooks over to third base. Well, he turns it into a little bit more than that. I'm actually surprised that Seager even threw that ball. He had no chance of getting Delino DeShields, and so risk versus reward doesn't really make a lot of sense to make that throw. Well, the Rangers are in business with first and third, nobody out.
Delano's second hit of the night. Middlebrooks 90 feet away with nobody out here. Shin-Soo Choo against Nick Vincent. Choo 1 for 4 against him in his career. Takes high for ball 1. Hitless tonight, 0 for 3. Choo lined into a double play in the first inning. Really just a great defensive play by Ben Gamel. A tough base running maneuver out there as well. Ground ball by first, and that's a strike. It's 1-1.
See here what Jeff Bannister wants to do with Delino DeShields. Obviously, having 2 runners in scoring position would be ideal, but the other advantage to Delino not stealing is how it opens up the right side of the infield, and really giving an opportunity for Choo to get a ground ball through.
1-1. Shanked over to the left side, out of play. Earlier tonight we saw some pretty dramatic shifts against Choo, which I thought was interesting because he is such a great bat handler. But now with men on the corners and both corner infielders staying close to the bags, and so the guys up the middle staying really pretty much traditional double play positioning. This one lifted high in the air out to right field. Haniger is back. He'll make the catch, tagging at third, and heading in is Middlebrooks. The sac fly by Choo has given the Rangers a 2-1 lead in the 8th inning.
Well, an excellent job by Choo, and really all the Rangers hitters so far in this 8th inning. But you get to this point late in the game, tie game, runner at third, nobody out, and you're just trying to find a way to get that runner in any way you can. It means a ground out, the sac fly. Well, he drove that ball as well, gave it a good ride as it ended up finishing almost near the track, and so Choo comes through in a big spot here to give the Rangers the lead.
Now Andrews, 1 out, a man at first. Vincent keeping a closer eye on DeShields. Elvis with a base hit last time up. 1 for 3. Rangers got a run in the second and a run here in the 8th inning. DeShields running, pitches in, the throw to second, not in time, and Delino is in there with a stolen base. Robinson Cano from behind the play, immediately signaling though to Scott Service, hey, check with your video guys.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty close, and we'll get a look at the replay right now, but this is a nice throw by Mike Zunino, right on the money. Segura does a good job letting that ball travel. We talked about that a little bit in Anaheim, not coming too far in front of the bag. You see it there. That's going to be the quickest way to get a run around. No, they won't challenge this. That hand got in there and it stayed on the back. The tag went in between the arms. Watch it, you'll see right here. This will give you a good look. Watch that left hand get in there. No tag.
Pretty close. Yeah, pretty close, but I think the oven mitt was in there. And strike to Elvis.
Zunino came into tonight having thrown out 14 of 50 attempted base stealers this year. It's 22%. It's right around league average. That was a strong throw.
Broken bat, bouncer into left field, base hit. DeShields has great speed. He'll head to the plate. Gambles throw offline. Andrus goes to second, and it's a 3-1 Rangers lead. The stolen base sets up a critical tack-on run in the 8th inning.
Elvis Andrus has had a pretty interesting night. He has broken 2 bats now on ground balls to the left side. This one gets through for a base hit. Also lined out at third base earlier tonight, but another bat going down, but he doesn't care because it is an RBI base hit. Great job by Delino. A big mistake here by Ben Gamble. You have 0 chance of throwing out Delino DeShields in that spot, but you throw the ball home, and that allows Elvis Andrus to go to second base.
Oh, Adrian Beltre.
So now the double play is completely out of play. Adrian Beltre, obviously a great hitter, but with his leg situation right now, a pretty good double play candidate. That can't happen now, and instead you put him in a spot where he's been pretty good with runners in scoring position. He's at 291.
Well, Andrus saw nobody home at third base. Bolted and gets himself into a rundown. He's still alive. Oh, and he went out of the line, and Andrus is out. Looks like he thought he had something there, some sort of read on Nick Vincent, but it did not work out for him.
Well, the Mariners gave, and the Rangers gave it right back, and you see that secondary lead. Now, there's no way that Kyle Seager was far enough off the bag, but you're right. It might have been where Elvis thought he was going to catch Nick Vincent in a little bit of a pattern that he thought he could dictate. I'll say, Elvis, man, you sure I'm out of the baseline there? I mean, the rule is 3 feet, but he said he was. He made it entertaining.
There's your standard 1-5-4, 1-6 caught stealing.
Well, I think right around the time Elvis was getting ready to give up, and then he realized the pitcher had the ball.
Yeah.
Well, let's give this a little bit of a whirl. These guys, not necessarily the fleetest of foot.
Beltre fouls one back right toward us. Stays 0-2, so 2 out. Beltre already with 2 hits tonight. There have been some misadventures on the base paths tonight for both clubs. There's a swing and a miss, strike 3. So Vincent gets through the 8th inning, but the Rangers pick up 2 big runs. We go to the last of the 8th inning. Texas leading 3-1. Lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Carissa Thompson, Tony Gonzalez, Dave Wannstedt, Colin Coward, and Michael Vick have all the latest breaking news and updates you need to start your football Sunday. Fox NFL kickoff Sunday at 10 a.m. Central. All right, Middlebrooks stays in the game to play third base after that top of the 8th inning, in which he scored the go-ahead run, and we've got Bush here in the 8th inning.
Now Matt Bush now. We'll take a look at his Ford pitch arsenal. The really good fastball, of course, from Matt Bush. Throws it nearly 70% of the time. And it averaged 98 miles per hour. The slider and the curveball, those two secondary offerings, and a really nice speed differential between those two breaking pitches, especially when you compare it to the good fastball of Matt Bush.
And he's got the top of the order. His first pitch to Segura runs inside for ball 1.
He's run into a little bit of trouble over his last 2 outings. Just a third of an inning combined, 3 earned runs. He did allow that home run to Mike Trout when we were in Los Angeles a couple of days ago.
Segura's 0 for 3. Martin Perez handled him well tonight. In fact, Martin Perez 6 1/3, allowed a run on 4 hits, 1 walk and 4 strikeouts for the Rangers lefty. Bush gets that one in there, and it's 1-2 now to Segura. Tony Barnett walked the tightrope there in the 7th inning. Put a couple of men on, but was able to get out of that 7th without anything given up. So now Bush is clean 8th inning and a chopper third base. Will Middlebrooks just in the game and takes care of Segura for out number 1.
An all-important first out after your team scores a couple of runs in the top of the 8th inning. So good job by Matt Bush to get the first out here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Well, now Haniger, who is 1 for 3 tonight. Haniger lately has been swinging a really good bat for the Seattle Mariners. And he fouls one back for strike 1. 2 runs in the top of the inning. The Rangers in front now, 3-1. Rangers trying to take the opener here in Seattle. Seattle was a half game ahead in the wild card standings. And that one hit Haniger. He'll head down to first.
Well, it sure did look like when we first saw that might have caught some bat first. And Jeff Bannister has got the hand up and saying, you know, we would like to maybe potentially review this. We'll see. Go out and talk to Matt Bush first. No, that definitely hit him. That's not it. He's going to make a pitching change.
Well, the potential tying run coming to the plate. Matt Bush, a shorter outing than he had hoped. Here comes the left-hander, Jake Diekman, coming on, trying to protect the 2-run lead. Bottom of the 8th inning. And Jake Diekman is on.
And let's take a look at the forward pitch arsenal for Jake Diekman. It's just a very simple 2-pitch mix. The 94-mile-an-hour fastball to go along with the 82-mile-an-hour slider. But it is live, nasty stuff out of that left arm of Jake Diekman. And this will be a good battle with the potential tying run coming to the plate in Robinson Cano.
All right, Cano, 1 for 3 tonight. Haniger at first. Cano, it is 299th career home run on September 2nd. Has not hit one since as he takes a fastball in. He's been looking for that magic number 300. When he does, he'll join Jeff Kent and Rogers Hornsby, the only 2 second basemen in big league history with at least 300 home runs.
It really is amazing. Kind of creeped up on us a little bit here with Robinson Cano. Of course, he's been in the league since 2004.
You see his numbers against Diekman, just 2 for 12 with a home run.
Sorry, 2005 is when Cano debuted.
Oh, a terrific offensive second baseman. He takes a strike, and he was taken all the way. 2-1.
Interesting approach here, I guess. When you think about facing a really tough lefty, you get behind in the count. Some guys will say, well, this may be the best pitch I'm going to get ready for it. And some guys, certainly in the case there, Robinson Cano, where they decide I'm going to make Jake Diekman throw me at least 1 strike before I look to hack.
2-1. Well, Haniger, the man at first base, just barely hit by the pitch. And it was enough to force Matt Bush out of the game. One of the lefty-on-lefty matchup here against Robinson Cano. Big spot for Diekman. Trino sets up a little away. And swinging that one off the fist into left field. And Mazzara is there, 2 away. A little more on Jake Diekman. Let's check in again with Emily.
I talked to Jake about his return and how effective he's been, and he said the biggest difference that he's seen in himself is pre colon removed and post colon removed is the fact that he just doesn't panic out there on the mound. He said he's much more calm than he was previously. He thinks that everything he's been through has given him a greater appreciation for what he's able to do, and also gave him a ridiculous amount of perspective.
That's a great point. Guys go through certain things away from the field because when you're on the field, you have the uniform on. Everything seems like it's the biggest deal and it's the most important. And then life has kind of this way of reminding you that there are actually other things that are a little bit more important than baseball, and your perspective changes through those moments. So that's cool for Jake Diekman because the anxiety in this game, especially for relievers that take on the high leverage situations that he takes on late in the game, it can get really high. But your perspective changes a little bit. Keep yourself calm. That certainly puts you maybe in a better position to succeed.
We got his first save on Sunday in LA. 5th of his career, but first this year. And it was a 5-out save, but he used just 10 pitches to get it done. You see Cruz and what he has done against Diekman. 2 for 9, but 4 strikeouts. Plate, it's 3-0.
That's not easy to do. Inning and 2/3, 10 pitches.
10 pitches. Yeah. And then
a save.
And just add to it that it was a save. Last time that had been done was like 7 years ago, and interestingly, it was done against the Rangers. Matt Capps when he was with the Twins. Outside there is ball 4. So the tying runs are aboard.
See how Diekman's feeling right here. He fell behind Robinson Cano 3-1 before he got him out. And then the walk there now to Nelson Cruz. Now, I definitely would not say that was anything that was intended, but you know, being a little bit careful with Nelson Cruz and getting the lefty-lefty matchup. Kyle Seager, maybe not the worst thing here for Jake Diekman.
That's great right there.
You think that's the original Players Weekend jersey? Because Kyle
might
Seager,
be, yeah.
that's the nickname he went with.
And it's autographed.
And he's got it autographed, and those were available. I don't know, did they have the sparkly, bedazzled numbers?
That I don't know.
That part might not be right. But definitely the best Players Weekend nickname in the game for me.
First offering right in there for a strike to Seager, who is 0 for 3.
I mean, I called him Corey Seager in the open. That's how popular his brother is. Shortstop for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Haniger at second. Cruz at first. Ooh, and a strike. It's 0-2 to Seager. You got the sense watching that at bat against Cruz that, yeah, maybe not the design when you start the at bat that we're just going to put him on. But certainly the idea was you didn't want him to beat you in that spot. You'd rather take your chances lefty on lefty here, but this is a tough lefty. I want this one way off the plate. And it is strike 3 called right on the edge. Inning over.
Well, absolute paint and a great job by Jake Diekman to bounce back after the walk. The 0-2 heater right on the corner, and a great call to end this inning.
What a fun couple of innings now, and this has been a real entertaining ball game tonight. 3-1, and James Pazos has come on here in the 9th inning.
Now let's take a look at the overall numbers for the big left-hander. See game number 56 coming up for him, and nearly a 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Certainly a good number there for James Pazos. He's got a good fastball, averages 96 miles an hour, and he's got a slider that sits right around 82.
Lefty on lefty here, Mazzara, and then Gallo, another left-handed hitter. First pitch right in there for strike one.
3 out of the 4, right? Mazzara, Gallo, and Chirinos and Odor. And so Pazos, a guy who's been very good. 194 against left-handed hitters this season. Not only does he have good stuff, right? Good fastball, good slider, high velocity. He's every bit a funky lefty. You see his delivery. It's got some herky jerkiness to it. That is an official term.
Yeah, part of what they teach sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Did you have the herky or did you have more of the jerky when you were pitching?
I'm told I'm more of a jerk.
Here's the 1-1. That is off the plate. Check swing, and he did hold up. 2-1. Bit of a surprise looking at my scouting reports here. These two have never faced one another. We figured we'd seen Pazos in against the lefties this year quite a bit, that one of them would have been Nomar Mazzara. According to my numbers, they have not faced one another this season. Mazzara had a double earlier tonight, a big double in this game. Eventually led to the first Rangers run. And he strikes out swinging to start the 9th inning. Well, start your day with First Things First. Weekday mornings on FS1 with your host Chris Carter and Nick Wright. Kick off the day with the latest in sports. First Things First, weekdays at 5:30 a.m. Central on FS1. Well, here is Joey Gallo.
You see Pazos, that fastball that he has, even the ones that he threw to Nomar Mazzara, they got a little natural cut to them. Doesn't have the fastball necessarily that runs, but not surprising either. When you see the high velocity pitchers, especially those lefties, very rarely are they going to get the arm side run that you may see from a guy that would be in the upper 80s or low 90s.
Well, he's been pulled in to face Gallo 4 different times this year, and he's gotten him all 4 times. But Gallo this time lines it out to center field, and it drops in, base hit.
As much as we talk about all the things that Joey Gallo has done this year, the home runs, the walks, the improvements that we've seen against left-handed pitching is certainly worth noting as well. This is a very tough lefty. There's a pretty good slider on the outside part of the plate, and Joey Gallo hangs in there, lines it right back up the middle. Good things happening for Joey Gallo this season.
Base runner now, and Robinson Chirinos steps in. Pitch on the way to him, and that one is in there. Strike 1. Boy, this ball hit high in the air. Chirinos just missed it, and Heredia right there for it. 2 away at the top of the 9th inning. Alex Claudio has been warming up out of the bullpen, so it looks as if he would come in the bottom of the 9th to close this thing. We'll see a portion of the bottom of the order.
Alonso, who came in as a pinch hitter, scheduled to lead things off. Nino Heredia, and then if he should reach the lefty Gamble.
Well, Odor next up here for the Rangers. A man on, 2 out, 9th inning, and they lead 3-1. They got 2 huge runs in the 8th inning to break this tie. Somewhat of a courtesy toss over there to first base.
So a lot of times for lefties, you'll talk about the A move and the B move.
What is that one?
Drop that one a little bit lower.
Yeah.
Not the F or the G.
It's a non-move.
The B move is just maybe to try to get a guy who's going first move, right? Or base runner who's taking off as soon as you lift your leg.
Chopper over the mound. Tough play. Segura to first base in time, and they get Odor to win the inning. Rangers leave a man, but we'll go to the last of the 9th inning. A chance for Alex Claudio to finish this one off.
From tonight's game, first of all, this great play by Robinson Chirinos, the bad base running by Yonder Alonso, and the big pinch hit double by Carlos Gomez, who hasn't played in 10 days, and then the great bunt. Just wanted a sack, turned into a base hit, and then Delano DeShields steals second as he continues to show the great wheels. Elvis Andrus drives him in on the broken bat base hit, and then pitching side, Jake Diekman with the big strikeout of Corey's brother, Kyle Seager, to end the inning. But the little things the Rangers are doing, playing some small ball, if they hold on, win this game, it'll be just the 8th time they've won a game without hitting a home run.
All right, Rua has come in to play left field, as you can see, and Alex Claudio on here in the 9th.
And the forward pitch arsenal for Alex, that two-seam fastball, the sinker, has been so good for him this year, nearly 60% of the time. Changeup has been very good as well, sits at 71 miles an hour. And the much improved slider in the last couple of years here for Alex, he'll throw that about 14% of the time.
And his first pitch in there to the pinch hitter, Chamo, you know him, Carlos Ruiz. One and one the count to the veteran catcher. And see what he has done this year, just 50 games and 3 hits in the season series against the Rangers, so not a whole lot of damage done. Breaking ball in there, strike 2. One of the real delights this summer has been watching Alex Claudio evolve into the role that he has fulfilled out of that bullpen. Slow bender, bounce toward third. Middlebrooks has to hustle it, and he does in time. And takes care of Ruiz for out number 1.
That's such a strong part of Alex's game. You mentioned the year that he has had, the importance in this bullpen for the Texas Rangers, really the way that he has emerged. He's got the confidence of Jeff Bannister, obviously trying to close out a 2-run game. He does an unbelievable job. We talk about ground ball rate a lot. Start looking at certain guys. 68% is the ground ball rate this year for Alex Claudio. League average 44%.
Jumps ahead of Zunino here, 0-1. It is amazing. In a game where bullpens are so dominated right now by hard throwers, guys in every bullpen around Major League Baseball, multiple arms throw 98 plus. And that's the end of the game, right? It's all power arms, all strikeouts, and yet here is sort of the antidote to all of that, or the antithesis to all that, which is Alex Claudio. Very soft tosser. Check swing, little bouncer, third base side, it goes foul.
I was talking to Brian Schaus today, who's the Double-A pitching coach with Texas Rangers, former sidearm lefty pitcher. We were talking about that a little bit, talking about Alex and how he's gotten to where he has gotten, things that he has done. And he loves seeing it. And he was saying, yes, along the same lines as you were saying, right, where you have guys that are, seems like averaging 96 to 98 miles an hour coming out of the bullpen. He said you're almost better off kind of staying out of that 90 to 95 range, nowadays, based on where velocities are. If you can get below that, the way Alex does, you can be very effective. And of course, if you can sit above that, well, you can do pretty well for yourself also.
Little pop-up on the infield, and Joey Gallo's bigger, so he's able to get to it before Odor. Whoa.
That was one of those weird pop-ups. And remember the one that we saw with Joey Gallo and Matt Bush when Joey Gallo was playing third? This had that same kind of feel where this ball did not get high in the air at all. Now, we're going to go through fundamentals and talk about pop-up priority. That should be Ruben Odor's ball, right? Because he's coming in, and you hear him yelling for it. And for Joey Gallo, I think he probably realizes that. Because I heard you, but I didn't want to hurt you. So, technically, yes, that should be Ruben Odor's ball, but nobody got hurt, and the out was made.
So, Guillermo Heredia now, last chance for the Mariners. Rangers have had a really tough time winning in this ballpark this year. They have dropped 5 of 6 previous meetings. But they're just 2 strikes away from taking the opener, and maybe the most critical of the series they have played this season here in Seattle.
It'd be good to see if Alex could really cool off Heredia, who singled in each of his last 2 at-bats, but just taking some really nice swings too, right? I mentioned about about Ruben Odor earlier in the pitching change that we saw. They got Mike Leake out of the game after a couple of really good at-bats. They brought in Zepchinski, the lefty. I do believe there's something to be said for just trying to get a hot bat cooled off in the first game of the series.
2-2. A win today will put the Rangers past Seattle in the wild card standings. The day in which the Angels are currently losing 9th inning at home to Cleveland. And the Yankees have already beaten the Twins. 2-2, bouncer, first base. Gallo has it. He'll go to the bag, and this one is over. A 1-2-3 9th inning for Alex Claudio. And the Rangers still with a pulse in this wild card race.
Well, this was a really nice win for the Rangers.